Hey, alright, it's Hard Talk Radio. I'm your host, MrDeadman. With us tonight is Tina Sawyer. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Now, are you related to the Sawyer family?
Actually, one of my uncles is named Tom, so yeah, Tom Sawyer. I
Look
get
at
it all
that.
the time.
Oh, look at that. So you must know Leatherface.
Not personally, no.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay. So I brought you on the show to talk about a paranormal experience. Now, before we get into that, before we get into who you are, what you do, first thing I got to do is I got a new cigar I'm trying out. It's called Bone Shaker. It's pretty good. Well, I don't know if it's good. I haven't tried it yet. Looks good. I like the skull on the band. Let's see. Supposedly this has dark and oily Connecticut broadleaf wrapper that covers well-aged binder and filler tobaccos from the fertile volcanic soils of Nicaragua. Now, let's go give it a try. While I light this thing, I guess now would be the perfect time, actually, for Tina to introduce. So, Tina, who are you and what do you do?
Well, my name is Tina Sawyer. I was a nurse for 20 years, and lately I sometimes do paranormal investigations. I do have my own equipment, things like that. And what brought me to that was the incident in my family when I was 10, 11 years old.
Oh, wow. So, wait. So you were a nurse for 20 years.
Yes.
You've seen some crazy stuff, I imagine.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Man.
I even have a paranormal experience. In one of the convalescent hospitals I worked in, we had an elderly man he was Indian, Native American.
Yeah.
He was very old. He was 101 years old. And he would take the call light in the bathroom and press it every day, every 5 minutes, nonstop. So they took his call button out of the bathroom. He passed away. We kept the body overnight. It was a Sunday. And while he was laying, the light kept going off in that bathroom, but there was no button attached. None. In fact, when he was alive, we put that button on his tray so he could ride around his wheelchair and press that button if he wanted. So I knew that button was not still attached there. There were other nurses working there from Iran, and they thought the whole thing was just hilarious. It wasn't, though. It was something else.
Oh, wow. So the button was completely removed off the wall. There's no way for it to work, yet it was still working.
All day. The whole time his body was there until they came and got him.
Huh. Wow.
We all stopped going in there. We stopped going in there after a while. This gentleman never spoke. You know, he couldn't really communicate with anybody. So that kind of communication is something to remember.
Okay. I mean, so how would the skeptics try to debunk that? Be like, oh, maybe it's an electrical thing. You know, maybe some sort of weird short.
Yeah. Yes, they did. And sometimes today I got to question it myself. Did that really happen? Yes, it really happened.
People always ask that. By the way, this cigar is pretty good. If you like a very full body cigar, there's some espresso sort of flavors in it. Very heavy too. Pretty good. I definitely enjoy it. Okay. Now, this experience at the hospital, was that the defining moment that made you go, okay, I want to find these ghosts and spirits? Or was there something else?
Actually, the defining moment was when my father passed away, because he came to me in a dream before he passed. I was 10, 11 years old, and in the dream, and at 10 and 11, you don't know what a body bag is. So
right.
He came to the door in the dream
in
a body bag. He walked through the door in the dream. He walked through the door, and he unzipped the body bag, and he stepped out of the body bag, and he said, "I'm just coming to say goodbye." And I begged him not to go. I followed him back to the front door to watch him get back in the body bag, zip it back up. And as I'm looking out the door, I could see his van parked on top of telephone wires in the air.
His van?
So his van, his vehicle, yes, his
Yeah.
van. And so it was that next day I begged my mom not to make me go to school because I knew something was going to happen. Even though I was that young, I knew that dream meant more than just a dream. It was very, I guess you would say, invasive of every thought I had. And like I said, I begged her not to make me go. So I did. And that day, my father decided he was going to end his pain. So he came to her house and he hit her in the head 3 times with an iron pipe, crushed her skull in 3 different places, and she hit the floor. Once she hit the floor, he thought better of it, and he got on the phone. He called an ambulance and got in his van, left the house speeding, and purposely ran into a telephone pole.
Oh,
That
Tina,
at the time.
Tina, when you said your dad was going to end his pain, I thought he was just going to, overdose on heroin or do something where he takes himself out. But he's going to end his pain by doing that.
I asked my mom that. I asked my mom that many times, and that also took me a long time to understand. I always said, "Why, Mom? Why would he do that to you?" And she said, "Because he wanted me to feel the pain he felt." And for the 2 years that he stalked her, I think he held himself back so much that when it did happen, it was just a massive explosion.
When you say your mom told you this, are you saying that your mom told you this, like in the afterlife, or your mom actually survived having her head?
She did survive.
Oh.
She did survive. The reason I call the book Easier to Forgive a Dead Man is because I thought if he had lived through that, would I ever be able to forgive him for doing that to her? And if he was alive and in a prison, would I go visit him? Things like that, because I watch a lot of serial killer stuff and their kids,
Mm-hmm.
this and that, and I thought, I don't think I could. I don't know if I could, and this was very recently. My mom said, "Tina, I can forgive him." And she does not believe in God. So for her to say that to me took me a little while, but I agreed. I have forgiven him, but it wasn't easy.
You've forgiven your father, the guy who came in and bashed your mom's skull in.
Only because she forgave him. That's the only reason I forgave him, was for her. She was worried what the whole thing, was doing to the family, and I think she just wanted that to stop so we could all have peace.
Forgiveness takes an amount of strength that a lot of people just do not have. Forgiveness is hard, especially that sort of atrocity that you experienced, that nightmare. How do you forgive something like that?
Well, a year to the day later, after this, before he hit the pole, the Mercury News of San Jose, this was 1977, the Mercury News was there at the intersection with their big cameras. It was back in 77, and they filmed the whole thing. They filmed my dad hit the pole, roll the van, and the reason they thought my brother was dead was because when the van rolled, this was all caught on tape and in the news, on TV and in the paper. When the van rolled, all my brother's stuff came flying out of the van. And so that's why we thought my brother had also died. But we found out later that day that he was at school and he was okay. And so anyway, the Mercury News ran with it. I mean, this is crazy. We came home to see my mom at home and thinking she was dead 10 minutes earlier. And there she is on the couch and her whole head's wrapped. I mean, she looked like a mummy. And at 10, 11 years old, you're just like, what the heck happened? You don't know what happened, So that was hard. And she told us, I'm going to give you each a shot of whiskey. My brother was 6, mind you. And she goes, and we're going to sit down and we're going to watch this on the news, on TV because I want you to be here with this to deal with it because it's going to go on for a while, and it did. So we did. We all took a shot, and we all sat there and watched the news and watched the van roll, watched my brother's stuff fly out, listened to the lies they made up about what really happened. That was an ongoing thing for an entire 2 weeks. It was so crazy, got so much publicity that the intersection where we lived, there were so many cars there. We would come home from school, and the whole backyard was filled with flowers. And one of the things that happened there was part of the story got out, and the Mercury News reported it, that my dad did some things that were made up. It wasn't even true.
I was going to ask, what were the lies? What were the lies?
One of them was they just made it up out of the story. Something about whatever it was, I thought my mother should sue for it. It was really terrible, saying it wasn't the truth. And the truth was that he stalked her. And during those 2 years that he stalked her, he'd park his van across the field where we lived and come into the house, no clothes on, a rope, tape, and a knife. This is how she'd find him in the neighborhood, in the living room. And so somebody, through the publicity, found out about that. And my mom looked out. We were in a 2-story house on Turanga Court. My mom looked out her back window in her bedroom on the top floor, and there was a man standing out there naked with rope and a tape and a knife. That's how sick this got. The publicity, the media, everything just went nuts.
There's so much to go into here. But before we get lost into the details, one thing I want to talk about is that this came to you. You had a vision of some sort. I don't know if you, I guess you do believe that dreams speak or mean something at times, because in your dreams you saw this, or at least you saw a sign that foretold that, your dad's going to die and something really bad's going to happen. Of course, you don't know how bad it's going to get, but you saw something.
Yeah, and it didn't end there. A year to the day after his death, we were all camping, and the grown-ups were outside, and me and my little brother were inside of a motorhome. And I see something coming towards the window, and I'm scared, and I don't want my brother to see how scared I am. As closer it got to the window, the more scared I got, and then I see a man standing there with a hood and a cloak. And he took the hood down, and it was my dad. And my dad said, "Don't be afraid." But I was. And then he said, "I just came to say goodbye." Just like in the dream when he walked out of the body bag. So, yeah, that started my paranormal interest for sure. Well, I'm not scared of the paranormal at all.
I think that would spark a lot of things for a lot of people. That sort of trauma, man. Did you get into nursing because you wanted to help people?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so.
Absolutely.
I thought so.
I felt I had a calling. I've also done private duty in people's homes. So, yeah, that was my goal.
Now, you said your dad would go to your mom's house naked with a rope, a knife, and tape.
Yeah.
So, and he would do this to slap your mom?
Well, what he was actually doing was he was going to kill everybody in the house. And I was alone at his house when he did that. One time he showed up there like that. And he ended up upstairs at the outside of my sister's bedroom. I wasn't there. My mom told me all this. And my mom saw him standing, and she thought, "Oh, my God, he's going to do something. He's going to do something horrible." Well, yeah, he's standing there naked with a rope and tape and a knife. So, she was very nice to him, talked the whole way out of it, And so it didn't happen that night. And he got what he wanted that night, which was to be intimate with her, and
Mm.
she knew that. That's why she did it. To save my sister, and probably herself.
Wait. You said your sister too?
Yeah, yeah. He was at my sister's door at the time. Like I said, I wasn't living there. At the time, I was living at my dad's house because they were estranged. I was alone there, and I didn't know that either while this went on. Whenever he would stalk her and end up at the house, I never knew because he would do it when I was sleeping. So one day I came home, and they told me, you can't go back. And they told me why, and they told me that story about that, him coming in and that.
Oh.
Then I said,
Right.
no, you're a liar. I didn't believe him. I was very close to my dad. I didn't believe it at all. Very hard to believe.
Mm. Yeah, that is a hard thing to believe. You mean to tell me that my dad is doing what? To my mom, I understand, kind of, sort of, but to my sister? Was that his biological sister?
No, it was my sister, and it was not his biological child. The only biological child
Okay.
was my brother, but that's always going to be my dad.
Mhm.
Always going to be my dad.
Okay. So, things I want to say to kind of put some levity here. There's other ways. If you know, your dad could have sent a card, sent some flowers. I don't know.
You know what he did? What he did was, when he died, we went to his house to clean it out, and my mother found a tape recording, and it was a probably 2-hour tape of him sitting there. I will not kill my wife. I do not want to hurt my wife. I do not want to kill my... 2 hours of that over and over and over again. So he tried. He knew there was something wrong. He tried. And he did call the ambulance in the end, you know, so... I don't think he liked what he had done.
Yeah.
I don't think he could stop it.
Okay. That there, I don't know if demonic possession exists, but that seems, it seems evil. Seems real evil. And to get full context here, you said that's your stepdad, but he's your real dad.
We were very close.
Okay.
We were extremely close. I played, I had to try out for hardball. The only girl that was accepted in first girl into hardball in 1977. He became my coach. Our team was called the Bad News Bears. And we were very close. Me and my father were very close. So it's been hard to try to understand, you know, but I do.
Okay. Now, all right, so you had this experience, a very traumatic, insane experience. And because of that, you now want to go look for ghosts and spirits and stuff. What you saw in the dream, do you feel that was like a spirit or ghost talking to you, or have you seen or felt like a spirit or ghost presence after that?
Okay, I'll tell you another crazy part about that whole thing.
Okay.
His biological son, my brother, he got AIDS. He was 22 years old. He did not survive. But he wasn't passed away yet, and I was taking care of him the last 2 years of his life, and I had left overnight to go home to take care of some business. And while I was there, I went to sleep, and I had a dream. And in the dream, I'm on one side of a stream, and I look across, and there's two guys sitting on a log, both of them wearing a hood and a cloak. And they took the cloak down just like the visit, and it's my brother and my dad. And I'm trying to cross the creek to get to them, and I'm telling them, I'm going, I'm coming. You're not going to stop me. And they would make the creek wider and wider. Well, in that dream, the scene in the background was a brook and a bridge and this and that. And
Right.
So when my brother did pass, I had to get an urn for him. And I went and to a funeral home and looked at all the urns. And my mom didn't care how much it cost or anything like that. But I was not satisfied with one single urn that was there. So at the last minute, the funeral home owner says, you know, I do have something in the back. I carved it. And he brought it back, and I still have it today. It's that seed on that box that was in my dream. The creek, both sides, the bridge. The only thing missing was my dad and my brother.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I don't know. I don't know how you explain that. I mean, some people might say, "Oh, you're just making that up," but I mean, you are explaining and kind of disclosing here a very traumatic experience. First off, very brave of you to come on the show, very first interview, very first podcast, live podcast, and telling this story, and then. Yeah, I mean, there's weird things that happen in our dreams. I don't know if they always mean something, but there's always been, I think a lot of people can relate to that. There's that weird sign, that weird messaging.
I could tell you this. My mom doesn't believe in God or any of that stuff, but because I told her about the dream and everything that had happened in the dream before it happened, she would ask me about my dreams for the rest of my life and to this day. And I will say that, yes, I have had other dreams, but they're, no matter what happens or I can foretell, I can't change it, no matter what it is in the dream. And sometimes it can be so trivial. Like, I'll give you an example. I came downstairs, my husband was down there, and I said, I just had a strange dream that I walked into the laundry room and saw all your boxers. He said, it's dropped. He said, I hadn't been down there. He goes, go to the laundry room. So I did. And that's how trivial it can be. And I can also, I choose not to let it happen. So when it does like that so randomly, I just think to myself, why couldn't I dream lottery tickets?
Right,
or
right.
why can't I change anything,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So a lot of people think it's a gift, but it's not.
Interesting. Yeah, so you don't get to pick and choose what comes in. You just sort of receive. Okay. Now, have you felt something, seen something outside the dream? I know you mentioned what you saw while working as a nurse. But what about before that? The time span between after that horrific assault.
Okay. Now we're getting into some crazy stuff here.
Yeah, let's go full into the crazy.
I was very consistent. I was very, I don't know how to say it. Okay. I don't know if you know who Antoine Lovely is.
I do.
Antoine Lovely.
The Satanist.
Okay. Yes. Okay, you gotta remember this was back in the 80s. It was his son, not the actual Antoine Lovely. And,
okay.
He had a cult, and it was in San Francisco, and I lived in San Jose. I was very young, 12, 13 years old. I didn't know any better. And so he gave me this thing to go home, and it was a chant. I had no idea what it was. And he gave me a goat's head, and a Ouija board, and 2 candles, and he said, go to your room alone. I want you to put the goat head on the Ouija board and light the 2 candles and start chanting. So I did. And then he said, then wait for a sign. And the sign was that the flames of the candle would go out. There were 2 flames. So the first candle went out. And I thought, oh, yeah, whatever. And then the second candle went out. And then I was like, oh, my God. So I was scared to shitless then. So I go out into the hallway, and we had a guest at the time. It was my stepfather's cousin. So when I get out there, I see this thing in the corner, naked, in a black form, with its arms and its legs crossed. And this was what the chant had brought. It took me the rest of my life to get rid of that attachment.
Wait, so you knew the son of Antoine Lovely?
I did.
And you joined the cult?
Runaway.
You joined his satanic cult?
I did. I'm not like that anymore, and I was very young, and we were a group of runaways. I left home at 13, stayed. I never went back. Horrible other things happened. That's why I left. So, yeah.
How do you join? You can't just join a satanic cult. Like you gotta do stuff, right? You gotta take acid and
No,
no.
we were runaways. We were runaways, and we were probably a group of 5 different runaways. We weren't the only group of runaways that he enlisted. I was just one of the lucky ones. I was just one of the lucky ones that didn't continue, and I actually thought, God, because that was the only way I could be protected after something like that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Oh my God, there's so much there. All right. So Antoine Lovely, his son is just Antoine Lovely Jr. I mean, how's it work? As the second, third?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's his son, right? Right.
Okay, so he gives you a Ouija board, a goat head, and candles.
Yeah. Well, they were actually little gas lights, little hurricane lamps.
Okay.
The wick. It had a, not the same wick as the candle. That's why I thought it was weird when the first one went out, and then when the second one went out, I was completely done with the chant. And that's when I walked out and I thought that was our house guest in the corner. It was so obvious. And I thought he was standing there like that with no clothes on and crossed his arms. And I said, you better get back into your room or I'm going to tell my mom. And I turned and it was gone. And then I realized the door behind that door was the real guest. So that thing I saw out in the hall was not a person.
No, that sounds like a demon. It sounds like the image of Satan that they have on their statue, whatever.
I don't even know about that. I was just young and dumb. I was young and dumb and confused and didn't know and had no idea what kind of danger that could be or how evil it truly was.
I mean, okay. I guess now we're going into demon territory. With that demon territory stuff, let's go back a little bit to what happened with your father. Do you think he was possessed? Do you think your father was possessed?
At the time, I didn't know anything about that. So my vision of what happened to him is different as a child than it is today. And all I could say is that at the time, he was never himself, ever. He was not the man we knew him to be. And he was a good man. So for him to turn into that in a matter of 2 years was really hard.
In 2 years? In 2 years, he goes from a good man that will take you, play ball with you to this person who was pretty much forcing himself on your mom and then your sister and then oh my God, and then came in and banished your mom. Okay, wow. Well, do you believe in demons?
Yes.
Yeah, I imagine so. After seeing what you saw with the Antoine Lovely's little thing there. Okay. Well,
I'd like to also talk about Indian warrior spirits. I live in the high desert, the Mojave Desert, and there's a lot of Indian burial ground out here. And we lived in this is what really started my paranormal investigating. It was a warrior spirit that was in our house. I didn't know anything. I was just beginning to get into it. So I didn't know, maybe you shouldn't stage because you did get rid of the good spirits, the bad will remain. Well, that's what happened. We couldn't wait to get out of that house. It was awful. It was just whatever was there. This warrior spirit did not have. It wasn't personal. It's just what he was supposed to do as part of that tribe.
Right.
But anyway, we left that house.
He probably had a bone to pick with you. I mean, our ancestors did some things,
Yeah. So we left. That day we left was crazy, and the door kept slamming on me while I'm trying to get the rest of my stuff out of the house. And the last time it slammed, I didn't go back in, and I just yelled, "We're out!" And I told my husband, "Don't worry about the rest of the crap there. Just leave it there." So 10 years later, I take my son with me to an investigation and his wife, and they're in their 20s. So we go to that very place, right in front of that house, and I have a ovulus. This is so crazy. So we're out there on the Indian burial ground, and this warrior spirit comes through, says my husband's full name and says he was a warrior too. We got so scared, even me. We all did, all three of us, because it was saying
You got
things that
scared.
there's
You've
no-
seen some things. You've seen some
Yeah,
things
no,
already. Yeah.
the personal stuff it knew was beyond anything I could explain. So we got scared. My son got scared. We fishtailed out of there, leaving a bunch of dirt and stuff. And this is kind of funny part about it. His wife was in the back, and I was in the front, and a big June bug comes flying through the vent of the car. Now we're really freaking out, trying to kill this thing and get the hell out of there at the same time. I have not been back to that location.
No, I would not imagine you going back there at all. In fact, I'm actually still processing how on earth is Tina Sawyer doing ghost hunting stuff after what you've seen.
I'm not, I'm not scared. I used to be scared, but I'm not scared anymore. And I think the probably biggest reason I'm not scared is because when I need help, whether you're Catholic or not, and I'm not, I go to the saints. And it's always worked for me my entire life. There's been things that have happened to me in different locations where I did have to go to the saints and ask for protection. I carry those medals with me whenever I investigate.
Okay. Now, when you go ghost hunting, do you take what sort of equipment do you take?
I just have an Ovilus, and once in a while I have the K2 meter and an Ovilus. The Ovilus has probably been the best that evidence I've ever gotten.
The obelisk.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
Now, when you're going looking around, do you take photos too? You record it? Do you live stream it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And are you fascinated with like orb lights, those things?
I believe orbs are very rare. Very rare. There are true orbs, I believe that, but I also believe a lot of it's dust. A true orb is very rare.
Right. But now, of course, I'm asking this as a skeptic. Like, I want to believe, I want to see. I've been trying to see for a long time now. I played around with like Ouija boards. I've done some things I probably shouldn't have done to try to provoke. I just have never seen. At this point, I'm convinced that there might be some sort of, if ghosts and spirits exist, that there must be something about me that just sets them off. Like they don't want anything to do with me. Maybe I give off like some sort of negative aura. I don't know, like a ghost repellent or something. I don't know how to explain it.
I think it's hard. I think that it's that way for everybody. And there are times I even ask myself, "What are you doing?" Because I've had attachments and I've had things that I really had to work spiritually for. But yeah, I mean, to me, it doesn't scare me. It doesn't surprise me. It does once in a while, I can admit, though, when it knows things, there's no way it could have known.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you encounter one of these entities and it's able to say things that it shouldn't know, it's like, what is that?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now, do you have a recording of these events?
No, I don't. I used to, but no, I don't have them any longer.
Oh man, that'd be gold though if you did, right? I mean, that would be proof right there.
I honestly haven't touched my Ovilus in probably a year. Well, no, that's not true. Okay, 6 months. I haven't touched that. It's because it's the things that it has said. It's just that is scary. Like I swear to God, it was on my Ovilus, and no lie. It came on and said, "Mother's sister died," and that day my mother's sister died, and my mom called me, and I didn't think anything of it when it said that. And then my mom called and told me her sister just died. That was it for me. I don't mess around too much more with it because I thought, this is going somewhere I'm not willing to go. I don't want to know somebody's going to die. I don't want to be the cause of somebody's negativity.
Okay. I mean, I'm curious to how that obelisk even works like that. Like, how is it picking up I
It's
guess a
actually
ghost
it's an
message. I
app.
don't.
It's an app, and I've probably had it 7, 8 years. It's a very old app. Unity makes it. Um, a lot of people in other paranormal groups ask me what is the best device, and hands down, it's that Ovilus from Unity. Like I said, there's things that said that, yeah, it scares me. It scares me enough to know not to screw around.
Not to screw around. Okay. And you said this. Okay, I'm curious about the Ovilus thing. You said it's an app.
Yeah, I don't think you can get it anymore. I got it from Unity, like I said, around 8 years ago. I have all the other equipment too, and I've used the K2 meter and all that. But the Ovilus has hands down been the most accurate.
Okay. Now, part of me is wondering, this app, like, how do we know if it's not like fabricating things, like just making things up?
How could it fabricate a death? That was nothing. When I had it, after I installed it, I had it for some time. And this thing, I swear to God, it was crazy. I'd walk up the stairs and I'd have it in my hand, saying stuff around the house, and it would come on. You're walking up the steps, and I'm like, what? How does it know I'm walking up the steps? Still didn't think too much about it. But when it said my mom's sister was going to die, that happened, and it kind of changed my mind about it.
Okay. I mean, the timing is interesting. I mean, I know it sounds goofy in a way because, like, it's an app. Anyone can get it. It's like, oh, does it actually work? But
no, everybody could not get it. Anybody could not get it because, like I said, I've been in other paranormal groups. They asked me, how did I get it? And then they'll all say they can't find it. You can't find it anymore. I don't even know how I still have it.
What if there's a way to find it? I'm going to try to find it.
Yeah, try Unity. Just try Unity. What does it say? Okay, yeah, try Unity, and then you'll see a square with a hand. Just the hand in the square. And that's Unity Ovilus.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to try to find that one day and soon.
Most Ovilus
and mess around with it.
Most Ovilus shoot stuff out left and right. Sure, it should be pre-programmed to say certain things, for sure. Did I think that all the time? Pretty much, yeah. But the two devastating things that it said was happening happened. So I take it a little more seriously now.
Now, when you go on these hunts, though, or when you went on them before, what was the most like outrageous, most crazy thing you've seen?
I would have to say when we were living in the house with the warrior spirit, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. I was in bed, middle of the night. Something came through the wall, and it went into my face, woke me up.
It sat on your face?
No, it went in front of my face.
Oh.
It was a witch, a woman, a witch, screaming. I could feel her breath. And the next day, I start telling my husband the story, and he finished it for me because it happened to him too. That I can't explain. I don't know what happened, and neither does he. But yeah, that place was very active, very, very active. I mean, my kids saw some really, we lived there. My kids, I didn't believe them when they come. Mommy, let me just whisper, shh, in my ear. My son would say, oh, you're just dreaming, go back to sleep. It took me about 5 years to even recognize the activity.
I'm concerned on why a strange woman wants to go visit your husband. What happened?
I think they call it the hag. She's called the hag. I found out later that this is an actual apparition, I guess. I don't know.
Just because she's ugly, you don't have to call her a hag now. You could put a bag on her face. I mean, she could try to do things with your husband. You don't know what she's trying to do.
That's why you didn't tell me in the beginning.
I mean, oh, okay. Have you encountered a succubus?
No. No, I've not.
You said ew?
Yeah, I said no.
Oh, I think you said ew. No, that's where I draw the line. No, no succubus. No, no incubus.
Yeah, no.
I'm
Thank
surprised. I'm
goodness.
surprised you haven't. You had the Native American warrior, the witch, the old
That
hag. Man,
that
go ahead.
that is out. That is a lot of people out here say the same thing about different areas where there's Indian burial ground that they built over. I'd say 75% of the whole neighborhood there had similar activity in their homes. So I just think there's a lot of the Mojave Desert that is protected by the Indians, even in death.
So, I mean, okay, hold it here. We didn't even define what is a ghost, really, because, come on.
I think there's a human ghost and an inhuman ghost. The things that are inhuman are nothing I don't know how to explain it, but it's not human. It never walked the earth. And it will do anything to trick you. I stay away from that as much as possible. And, yeah, an apparition is a lot different than a demon or something that is not of this world. And you can feel the difference.
You feel the difference. Okay. See, I'm
Yeah, you can.
be part of me, my skeptic mind here is still stuck on what really is a ghost. How do we look for it? How do we measure? I mean, how do we really objectively find it? And I know you're saying you saw this stuff, and I feel you, and I hear you on that. But also,
I think the ghost.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, there's plenty of people who go looking for it and they never see it, and they're like, man, if only I could see it and record it, and then be able to be like, oh look, okay, I found something. Explain this. Come on now.
Well, I was like that too for a long time, but the things that were happening around me, I couldn't deny. I couldn't run from it anymore. I had to deal with it. It took me a long, big part of my life to do that. I don't question it anymore, but I did then. But now that I know what it is, and I do know the difference, but I don't mess around with that stuff anymore.
Okay. Now, so like, is a ghost like just energy left behind?
I think there is residual, absolutely residual energy, 1,000%. It's just a repeat of something that happened in that space that was either traumatic or a lot of energy involved. I think there's a lot of residual haunting. And I think an intelligent haunting is something that can communicate with you. You can't really get the attention of something that's residual like you could something that is intelligent.
See, the reason I ask is because if I had the choice, if it was an option where if I died and an angel or something was like, okay, you can go to heaven, although you're going to have to take a lot of courses to redeem yourself because, boy, oh boy, you're going to have to do a lot of community service for what you've done. Like, okay. Or you could stay here and you can just, roam around. I'm like, well, I'll stay here and roam around because you tell me I could just roam around, play pranks? I would totally do that. I think a lot of people do it. I think there's a lot of lost souls here. A lot of people that don't know they're dead. But, they're not done here. They have something that they're wanting to finish. If that's the case, I'm waiting for the day where we get, like, jackasses of ghosts, where you get a bunch of ghosts that interact with people playing pranks, because that's exactly what I would do if I could.
Yeah.
And the pranks would be the pranks would be out of this world, man. They'd be freaking lethal too, because it'd be like, what does it matter to me? I'm dead.
Yeah.
Cutting
Well,
break
I've had experience
wires.
like that too, and I always thought it was my brother because when he was alive, he would get so mad if he went into the bathroom and there was stuff on the bathtub. he would. He'd get so mad about it. And so years after he passed away, in that house on the Indian burial ground, I was in my room, and my father-in-law was there at the time in the living room, and you heard a huge boom come out of the bathroom, and we were the only two there. Like, what was that? So I opened the door to the bathroom, and everything went boom, 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 boom. There was stuff around the tub. It all got slammed into the tub. There was a Q-tip container completely broken open and Q-tips everywhere in the toilet, in the tub, in the sink, on the floor. And I was stunned, and I'm standing there. I can't come up with any words. And my father-in-law goes, "Someone's trying to get your attention." So, well, it worked.
Right. Wow.
Yes,
See,
it worked.
that sounds like my kind of ghost. That's exactly what I would do.
He's
Bing, bing,
awesome,
bing, bing.
man. He's pulled pranks. I mean, I know it's him. Because it's not malevolence. It's just him.
Okay.
Personality.
Now, before we move on to horror movies, do you have another experience that you would like to share? Another paranormal experience?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, Tina, what is your favorite horror movie?
Yes. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's called Found.
Found.
Yeah, Found. Found.
No, I don't think I have. Is it a paranormal one?
That's crazy. That's crazy. You should check it out. It's intense.
Found.
I won't give it away, but I'll tell you, it's about two brothers, and the older brother becomes pretty much a serial killer and starts cutting people's heads off and keeps them in his room in a bowling bag.
Yeah,
and the younger brother finds. Yeah,
that looks
crazy.
good. That looks crazy. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Found 2012. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm writing a book called Easier to Forgive a Dead Man, and it is about my experience with what happened in San Jose, California in 1977 with my dad, the media, and what happened after that. A little more detailed, for sure.
Oh, yeah, I imagine so. How far are you on writing that book?
I'm almost done. I'm right now I'm trying to decide whether or not to make it into a screenplay, because I think it might come across a little better that way. So it's something I've been writing pretty much my entire life. I think that people need to know those kinds of things happen, and that you don't really know anyone.
That's true. That's true. I mean, you can be friends with somebody. You could have a family member that you really trust, really love, and one day they snap. They just snap, and they just turn into a completely different person. So what happened there?
Yeah.
That's cool, but at least you're working on it. I mean, you're almost done with your book. You're thinking about turning it into a screenplay. Okay. Have you taken any? Well, writing courses are kind of lame, but have you done things to kind of work on your writing ability and editing and all that?
Yes, I was a photojournalist in high school. I was very successful. Had my own byline the first year, which never happened. And since then, at a very young age, I was put in a college. I think I was 9. And the English teacher I had, thought that I had potential. So she took some of my work to her college, and they gave me books and wanted me to write more. So I worked on that for a few years as far as journalism goes. And being a photojournalist, you're just telling stories through pictures. So
that's right.
It's different when you got to put it down on paper.
Okay. Have you written any short stories before?
Just this one.
Just this one. Okay. Well,
yeah.
Hopefully when you get closer to being finished with it, you could maybe shop around, look for a publisher. I don't know if you have one in mind or anything like that.
Yes, definitely. I'm looking.
Okay. All right. Cool. Well, we are sort of coming towards the end here. But
Okay.
with Tina Sawyer, it was great having you on the show to talk about your experience with the paranormal. And the story you told was very, very detailed and very well. It's a thing of nightmares. Let's put it that way.
Well, thank you for listening and not judging so much.
No problem. No problem. I think I might put some levity by wrapping up the show with some Dr. Phil ASMR stuff. no, but it was great. It was great having you on, though. It was great having you on.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem. You have a good one.
You too, bye.
Okay, that was Tina Sawyer. Yeah, the story she shared was, I mean, it was pretty deep, man. What happened to her mom? Man. Dang. Now, let's I want to wrap up the night here listening to some, I don't know if you guys have heard this. It's pretty good stuff. I think it's hilarious. The Dr. Phil ASMR. Pretty good.
It's getting ready to happen.
Here we go. Okay. I'm going to play this for you guys. It's good stuff. All right, let me change this on the screen. And change this. Here we go.
Well, sit down a minute. I want to talk to you. Okay, well,
Just sit down. Just take a seat. Sit down. Stop walking away.
well, you can listen then. Are you pregnant?
Are you pregnant?
Do you want to answer that question? Do you know who the father is?
Dr. Phil, come on. It has to be you.
Well, don't condescend to me. I ask you a legitimate question. Okay, let me let you hear this. Your attitude is pretty much that you're going to do what you want to do when you want to do it, and so there's not much point in being here, right?
This is good stuff. It's good stuff. Oh man.
We should just shut this down and head out.
Shut it down.
Give me $200. And if you don't, I'm out.
$200. You can't even buy a Switch with that.
In about 15 minutes, you're going to be begging to talk to me.
Oh shit.
Because in about 15 minutes, your options are going to get zero.
Okay. Okay. Say what you will about Dr. Phil, but he's like a one-liner like machine, a one-liner spitting freaking machine. The way he talks. In about 15 minutes, you're going to be begging to talk to me. Because about 15 minutes, you're going to get a reality check like you will not believe, son.
Girl. In about 15 minutes, you're going to go, no, wait a minute, I want to talk to you. I'm sorry, I want to talk to you because I don't want to do what's getting ready to happen.
I don't want to do what's getting ready to happen. It sounds like the stuff I used to say to clients when I worked at the mental health facility. Don't make me do what I'm about to do. I don't want to do it. It's like when your dad would hit you with a belt. I don't want to do this. You're making me do it.
I want to talk to you. And you know what's going to happen when you do? I'm going to have moved on to the next thing, and it's going to be too late. So if you want to talk to me, you need to talk to me right now, because in 15 minutes, you're going to really want to talk to me to try to negotiate getting out of what's getting ready to happen.
Oh, come on, come on.
And I'm giving you a chance to do it right now. And if you want to do it, you got 10 seconds to sit down and talk to me. And if you don't, you're not going to.
You got 10 seconds to comply.
Believe what happens next. What's funny about that?
Oh, there's a lot that's funny about this, Dr. Phil.
I'll give you $200. I want the money. I'll raise enough hell till you give in and give it to me.
Give it to him. Give it to him.
One thing I can tell you, this is your last chance. Well, that's not an option, because there are going to be a lot of things happen. Going home ain't one of them. You're ugly. You are
And she's actually 14.
disgusting. I'm going to kill you. Gotcha. You don't manipulate me. If you disappear for 2 or 3 days, I'm going to go to your house and kill your whole family.
What? Come on.
Does that seem like a reasonable thing for a person to say? I'm in a gang and my fellow...
All right, man. I want to see The Shining remade of Dr. Phil.
gang members will kill your parents. Have seen them do drive-bys, seen them murder people, rob people, and beat them to death. And I have to make sure that child's being taken care of.
Okay. That was good. You guys like that? Might do more of that next Hard Talk Radio. Okay. All right. Well, I definitely enjoyed this. This was a pretty cool experience, pretty cool show. Some people may not believe everything that Tina said. Okay. It was her experience. You know, I asked questions. As we move forward, going deeper into the paranormal and supernatural topics, we're going to get guests that have some interesting stories. That's for sure. I want to go deep into the paranormal, into the supernatural, and even crazy conspiracies. That would be cool. That'd be really cool. All right. Well, this has been fun. I enjoyed this. If you guys made it this far, you know what to do. Press like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Y'all take it easy. You have a good one.